You are listening to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss our RC adventures.
Welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss the ups and downs of the new RC Flyer. Join your hosts, Michael and Jay, as they take flight at the park. Now on with the show.
Well, Sunday morning we are sitting down. Mike and I have Tim Hanstine with us from Northwest RC. Welcome to the podcast again.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And it is always a pleasure to have you on the podcast. We have Tim on, I think, every year just because he's so awesome. SupaTim.
That and you can't keep me away.
That's right. Well, tell us what you brought out here. I saw the big beaver. Was that you guys?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So that's actually one of our customers brought it out. He's like,
Perfect.
he goes, he's doing his thing with it. He goes, this crowd probably wants to see what it's capable of. So, we had,
gotcha.
I'm with Northwest RC, but also an extreme flight team pilot. And we have a new guy, Santiago Perez, who's been out here in the past before for a couple of other brands, but he's now a new extreme flight pilot as well. And he's been advocate for me for years. So, we're all playing with my toys and it worked out great. So, yeah.
So that was out. What else did you guys bring?
Well, noon demo, we did 120-inch Turbo Bushmaster. We did the 84-inch so we could do, a little cat and mouse.
Oh, that was really cool.
Yeah.
I remember. I saw that like, okay, that's all right.
Oh, yeah.
That was cool. I like the whole where they were flying together, knife edging. You saw the big and little.
Yeah. Well, we actually got some of that footage, too. So, we'll have links to that on our homepage and our YouTube links and everything like that.
Great.
We did it with the Slick 580 so we could get both ends of the spectrum,
Sure.
Warm them up with the high wingers and get into real shenanigans with the dumb aerobatic stuff. So.
Exactly. Well, it was definitely a wow show on Saturday. That was I think everybody was standing ovation, clapping. It was, and we actually got to talk to Santiago. He did him and AJ did the helicopter thing. And
Yep. Did the scorpion thing. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So we did got to see that. That was pretty nifty. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, you brought your stuff down to sell. You obviously did well doing that. Right?
It was nice, and it's coming here year after year has been, exactly what I hoped it would be. Because at the very beginning, like, who's this guy? What's this stuff? This isn't, what I'm familiar with. And so, just being here year after year, supporting the event. We've got lots of customers coming here that haven't been here before.
Right.
That they are doing their pre-orders, doing their pickups, and it's just encouraging the show to keep the momentum and keep on going, because it's a great event. I mean, I drive 1,600 miles to be here because there's not another one like it on this side of the country.
Yeah. And I think it's great for a customer to buy some of your stuff and then have the vendor there. Yeah. It's like, hey, I just put it together because I'm excited, right? And it's like, hey, could you check it over real quick and make sure maybe even fly it before I do, that kind of stuff. I don't know how many of you did it at. Did you do that at all?
Oh, yeah, plenty, yeah. And, and there's guys that maybe were curious about a couple of the planes that were new that, they've already got previous things. They want to see what's new and exciting. So, we gave a couple pony rides, and it was good.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's hands-on. I think it's important so they can really, see what's new and exciting.
Yeah, I wonder if we could have like a sign-up for pony rides.
Sign up with
it's like
have a little sign here.
Like, okay, starting today, and then
right.
until next year, sign up for pony rides. See how many we can get.
There you go. No doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I have spent the last couple of weeks definitely shooting orders over your direction, but I have noticed on your website you got a new line of planes, and you had a couple of them out here. Why don't you go through what those are and kind of bring us up to speed?
Well, so there's, we do hear certain rumblings here and there, and it's like we're still the exclusive West Coast distributor for Extreme Flight and the associated brands and everything like that. But, there was an opportunity to bring in something else, and I think in the spirit of keeping technology just cutting edge and pushing everything forward, we brought in another line that's going to be our U.S. exclusive. People are already familiar with it in the smaller sizes, but SkyWing is our new line that we brought in. We got our first container in December, and massive response, and it's nice because we did it basically to dip our toe in and see what the response would be because, obviously, Extreme Flight is the Cadillac of brands out there and has a huge, devout following but at the same time, outside the U.S., SkyWing actually has a pretty similar, footprint out there, and so the demand's been here. We've been looking at it for a couple of years. The production is finally where we hope it would be, and it's a great response. We brought out the 89-inch laser. We're trying some new servos, trying some new, motors and speed controllers. We've got the things figured out that do work, but, it's always moving forward to see what's new and exciting.
That's cool.
And Yeah, again, everybody loved the laser, and we had also our extra out here. A customer brought his out. He was so excited to show it, and people just couldn't believe. They're like, "Is that no? It's a SkyWing, and it's a good competitor, and it's we're going to push both, equally well, and we're real happy. We even had an AJ aircraft pilot here that got a good hard look at it. He goes, nice. The stuff looks pretty nice, So, and what's nice is there's enough space in the it's a very niche environment, but again, it encourages everybody just to keep on moving and not become complacent, and it's what keeps the hobby and the sport going. So yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's always good to see new stuff coming out. I know that in the past we've complained about it, and now with the hobby business changing the way it has, and people making moves and companies being sold, that you see some of those SIG products and things that are kind of in our history,
our stalwart stuff.
Stalwart that's not really available anymore.
Yeah.
So it's kind of good to see new products being introduced, because I would hate to see just nothing but. Same old thing.
Right. I know a lot of the heritage things are out there, and that's why not just from our brand, you're seeing updates. Right. You're seeing version 2s, or from some of our competitors are doing their 10th anniversary, and it's good that we're recircling to these things that people fell in love with. Because even if some of the products have become what we're guilty of is a lot of times with the brands that we carry, they focus on one specific segment, XA, fast, hard. Well, 99% of the guys maybe aren't into that. So to go back around to what hooked them in the first place, they're excited to see fresh updates, because the technology really is amazing.
Yeah, right.
You've gone from traditional just,
even the last 3 years, right?
Oh, yeah, huge. Everything's carbon fiber, laminated constructions.
Which you could put a flight controller in anything these days. Is small. They're small enough.
Yeah. I mean,
you almost don't even need receivers. Like, what's a receiver for, right?
Well, it's funny. I was flying, I've got a version 2 60-inch extra here, and people are looking like, where's your receiver? Well, I'm running the new Spectrum antennaless receiver, so it's literally the size of a stack of postage stamps, and they're just like, that's it? And I was like, 2 months ago I was running satellites all over the plane. You can see the wires are like, that's really it? And one of the first flights I did here, I took that up, and to what is that, north on that end over there, north end of the field, there's a tall cactuses, right? I split the uprights on that. It's pretty far, and then someone's like, what about that second set? I was like, range check. kept on going, yeah, and it worked great. So again, that's another thing that just the hobby as a whole, they're constantly innovating and trying new things, and
it's amazing the technology, just where everything goes. And how you kind of see it in other technologies. When I was a kid, our television was the size of a piano. And today they're so thin you can literally fit them in your watch.
What's a picture frame anymore?
Exactly.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah.
But and then everything seems to do towards the micro side. Where you get just smaller and better and better and.
The GPS unit on my Talon is, it's not bigger than my thumbnail.
Right.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Isn't that
it's
cool?
ridiculous.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So,
and it picks up, 10, 15 satellites. It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it is amazing. So,
Well,
the big question, what's on the horizon?
Oh, that's cool. That'll be great. Yeah,
I just figured, because we get that answer every year.
Yeah, right.
So I have to ask it because there's people that listen, but I know it's.
There's at least one guy that's listening to the podcast.
That goes,
right.
Man.
No, there are a lot of cool things. There's a lot of updates, V2s and V3s, but there are some also new aircraft on the horizon that are coming that will be part of our legacy. In the Turbo Bushmaster family. Because people love that plane.
They really do.
Yeah. It's neat because, it's not just the 3D pilots. I've got so many scale pilots that use it as their scale ships for beginner, or they're doing it on floats, and they're, they're having a lot of fun with planes they didn't realize, because they don't normally fly like that. You put together something else that maybe isn't designed by a 3D pilot, and it's got a heavy wing loading, and it'll snap in weird conditions, and it's really become fun again. So we've got some new releases in that category. We've got some new XA products. We've got some new Go Fast. I mean, it will be a great year for, extreme flight. And then, with SkyWing, again, we dipped our toe in the first container. Our second one, we're going to, I'm programming out so it's not just, 30cc and larger. They have a huge following for the foamy hybrid stuff. Right. So I'm going to bring in the 38-inch, the 48-inch, the 55-inch. There will be a plug and play, but it's that, that foam balsa stuff.
I'm just going to put this in your head, 2200 milliamp battery, 3-cell.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's why
That's all he owns.
Oh yeah, 48-inch, 38-inch, all day long, man.
No, seriously. That's I looked at my whole stable of planes, and I know for a fact that there's not a single one of them that takes a different battery that they could take 4S,
right,
or whatever, but all of them fly reasonably well on 3S 2200s. And because I don't like to buy 10,000 different batteries.
Yep.
Now I'm all for taking a couple of my batteries, marrying them up, make them 6 cells.
Yep.
So that's all good too. And so I can go from 3 to 6, and I feel comfortable with that. But
that's always
anything in between is like I'm not doing it.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you more options than you're ready for.
Okay.
Well,
there you go.
Guess I'll have to sell some planes.
Make some space.
Yeah, I promised 10 planes, and these guys are like, "You're never going to do it." I was like, "Oh no, it's a serious statement. I'm doing it."
He's got a long way to catch up with us, doesn't he, Tim?
Right. Yeah, my wife still. Every time we get a container, she's like, "You started this business to hide your hobby,
That's
your
exactly
addiction,
right?
I'm like, "Hey, the lights are on, the kids are fed. What else can I ask for?" So
I hear you. I've turned a couple of hobbies into businesses and bought and sold, so I know exactly what you're doing. It's it's a love that you show, obviously, when you come out here and participate.
Your commitment.
You're just the enthusiasm and the love for the game, for the hobby. It just exudes every time you and your guys come out. We just love to see it. So.
Yeah, we're all playing with toy airplanes, man.
Yeah,
why would you have a bad time? You know?
Exactly. Yeah. How bad could it be?
Yeah, exactly.
So, we're excited to see you go out there and fly again. I know you guys. You brought a little team down, and they're always out there, doing their thing, and
good
it's always
group of
exciting.
guys.
So,
yeah, for sure.
But we appreciate you stopping by again this year and talking to us. It's always a pleasure to have you on the podcast. And
for sure.
For all you guys that are out there, worldwide listener, go to Northwest RC, order all your your RC goods, and hopefully Tim will have some more stuff on his website here shortly.
And you know what? And check back with the podcast too, because I think we're working on some incentive to check back with both of us.
There you go.
More frequently,
There you go.
So,
It's going to work a deal. So
we're on it
if it comes out.
We're on it. Yeah, for sure.
Well, Tim, thanks a lot. Have a great day today. We are looking forward to you doing some more demo stuff and showing us how to fly.
Yeah, I'll show you something.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Not a problem. Thanks.
All right, back to the flight line. Everybody, welcome back to the Park Flyer Podcast. Oh, my gosh, it's been a great weekend. We are at the very end of our event. And once again, we're sitting with Mr. Gallagher. Shannon, how's it going?
Oh, my gosh. For one thing, I'm tired.
Yeah.
Really? Why? I don't know why.
Don't know either. I did nothing, right? No.
Yeah. I didn't see you do anything at all.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Sitting in your chair, watching the planes go by.
Chair.
Yeah, they sat down in the chair
with
once in a while, but
with
I
his
was usually
heater.
doing something even sitting here. So.
That's right. He had that propane
Nice.
heater pointed right at.
Yeah,
That
last
was, yeah. Well, what do you think?
night. I would call this a... if I'm hoping I'm not breaking any copyright, but if this was like Rotten Tomatoes, I'd say this is like 100% fresh.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe
No doubt.
98. Maybe
Yeah.
98.
Well, good news is, I think, with the exception of this morning, early Sunday morning, who had a pretty bad midair, we were successful.
Yes, we had very few, crashes.
Yeah.
There was a couple, obviously. That's just part of the hobby. But overall, everyone had a good time from what I can tell. So we had 79 pilots.
Good.
Which is a good number. I was shooting for 80. I went off. Okay, I can deal with that.
79-80 is pretty close.
We had a huge crowd out here yesterday.
Oh, my gosh, it was massive.
We had tons of people. We parked I think over 300 cars for the
No
weekend.
kidding. That's great.
That's amazing.
That's a good sign for us. And I'm trying to think what's we were a little short on food vendors. That was the only bad thing I think we had, and I can't control when people cancel on me, and it's hard to get another one or two right away. But I had a blast. Last night we had the night fly.
That's true.
That was fun.
And the really cool thing with the night fly is one of the guys from Utah had an RC hot air balloon.
Right.
And we'd hoped to get it out during the day, but the weather it was not that we had bad weather. It was just a little breezy. It would have been hard to keep it tethered even and without going too many directions.
That makes sense.
We got that thing out here last night. It was lit up, with the burners going, and we actually, got it up in the air probably good 30, 40, 50 feet, and it was cool.
We did some Facebook Live stuff on that.
Yeah, you guys did. Yeah, I
Facebook
saw that.
Live, so
I saw
that's
that.
on there.
So
I had to laugh because when they pulled it out, I was like, "That's an RC balloon," and he's like, "Yeah," and I thought it was something small, and it turned out it was very big.
Yeah,
we were
was.
talking about a 30-foot, balloon.
You could put a dog in there.
Yeah,
a
you
little
could
tiny
have.
dog.
You could have a small child in
We were
that
trying
thing.
to convince AJ to go in there because he's kind of small guy. But we told him we'd do it for $200, but he wouldn't take the bait.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I started laughing really hard because the guy basically told me that, he said we've got a return to home on it. And I was like, really? You got to return to home? Well, it's a guy with a string. He's holding a string. So anyway.
That guy probably weighed 200 pounds or give or take.
Easy, and it was pulling him around.
Yeah, and he was getting yanked around. I was like, wow, if that lifts him up, that's crazy.
Pretty amazing.
We'll go grab his foot or something.
Yeah, I love someone said, hey, I watched James and the Giant Peach, and that didn't turn out too well.
Right. Yeah. Or Home, or whatever, the one with the old man at the top. With a bunch of little balloons.
Yeah,
This thing was pretty amazing. So we had a good time. The best comment of the night, I think, was Jeremy, because he's part of that group, and he said, can you imagine all these grown men are just glued to this thing, and it's a balloon? It's like a bunch of kids like,
just instilled in our...
It's just
instilled in our hearts.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but in Arizona, and then also in Dallas where we are, they have the hot air balloon things, right? Did you guys
we have
occasionally
that, hot air balloon festivals.
And I don't know about you, but I've always wanted to see like that take place. Like I've never seen one. So this is a perfect opportunity to sort of see how a balloon gets inflated and whatever. And it's like, they used a fan to fill it up mostly first. That's a great idea, and then of course obviously the hot air to make it go.
Yeah, I've actually been to 2 what they call hot air glows.
Yeah.
And they're at night. Yeah, they're a big hot air balloon festival, and then at night they do exactly what we did last night. I will say that the flame on this one was not quite as bright as the real ones, but the real ones are shooting a 30-foot flame up into
this
the
was
balloon.
2 or 3.
It's a little different.
It's a little different.
I've been to the Albuquerque Balloon Festival, and that's a sight to behold.
Right.
You guys should do a podcast on that.
We should. You go down there and do that, too. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not RC event, but whatever.
Yeah.
We can do it. But, we had those, and then the night fly was big.
Oh, we had tons of planes. We had
we're having a blast.
3 or 4 of the Flex Cessna 170s in the air. I had my Night Radiant, which is like a disco ball.
It was a disco ball.
Steroids.
I have to say. And I have to give it credit to Shannon. He was literally the last guy in the air. So
was I really last guy?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Once you came down, I think that pretty much they had put the balloons up and everybody had kind of done it. But your disco routine flying through the air was the highlight of the night fly. I think if we would have had some music, it would have really.
Well, I had some music going, and then my phone was almost dead. And then I found my charger, and I'm like, it's too late now.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Well, we should have put like Saturday Night Fever. Staying Alive or whatever. It's a disco, but it's a Night Radiant, right? It's the
Night Radiant. Yeah, the flight test kind of came up with it.
Has the conversion or whatever.
Yeah, it's good. The light combinations. I mean, it was every color of the rainbow on that thing. It's amazing.
It was almost. Not for lack of a better word, it's almost annoying because it was like changing so often you couldn't really kind of, I'd focus on it and be like, wait, what, wait, you couldn't really get a good.
There's 30 different combinations between the patterns and colors, and I push the button until I like one. This looks good.
It's definitely going. So it's a disco routine.
Can't miss it.
So we had you up, and then Mike and I out chasing each other around in our Walrus. Let Spencer fly the Walrus. He thought that was pretty funny because he basically pulled the old stealth mode. I know it was probably not legal, but he would go way up high and flick the light off and spin it back down, and then we would count how many seconds before he turned the light on when the spin.
Yeah, that was cool.
But
it was almost like you saw like a teleporting airplane.
Yeah,
here it is.
So over there.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was pretty fun. But luckily, there wasn't a whole lot of people.
He was chasing me around, being stealthy. Then he'd turn on his light, see what I'd do.
See what it'd do.
See if I'd react to it or whatever.
He was giggling like a school squirrel.
Yeah, he was.
But that was good. And then what are the other highlights of the week?
The noon show. I have to say, the noon show was of all the ones I've done. This was my favorite. The vendors, manufacturers, really stepped it up with their demos. I mean, there's that new thing from Flex, the Cypher, the little.
That thing was amazing.
I wouldn't say it's not little; it's pretty good size, but just and we had some of the best aerobatic pilots in the world out here.
This is true. We actually got put together our last episode. We had AJ and Sebastian on that did the helicopter routine. Yeah. So that was new and interesting, and everybody liked it too, I think.
Yeah, they came to me and they're like, "Hey, can we do this?" I'm like, "Okay, yeah," because I'm like, we got, we can put the end, and that was like the perfect ending to do that helicopter.
Oh, yeah, that was amazing.
Airplane demo. I mean, just amazing. But we had, we had a really good warbird gaggle. We had an amazing jet gaggle. Actually, we had a couple of jet gaggles because we did we had the motion guys as part of their team time kind of do that. So it was really cool, and ran a little longer, but no one left.
Right.
After a while, sometimes people are like, "Oh, I'm getting bored," but no one left. And even after the event, after that part of the event, we still had a lot of people out here, and so that was good.
Yeah, it was
my boss from my real job came out.
Mm-hmm.
And,
no kidding.
Yeah, he came out and he had a real good time, and hopefully he has a little higher opinion of me. Not that he did, but he's like, no, he was like, oh, he's like, wow, this is really cool. He's like, I knew you did this stuff.
It's hard to go to 11 after you're already at 10.
Yeah. This one goes to 11. Well, let's make it louder. But overall, I couldn't be happier. On my staff that works alongside with me on this, sometimes thankless, but I always let them know how important it is to me that they're part of this. All the people I get to see from previous ones come back out. The awards, that was the other thing. I was really I was having a hard time because there are so many beautiful airplanes out here and so much good flying that I'm gonna be honest. On one of the awards, I literally had to flip a coin.
Really? Wow.
I had to flip a coin, and I needed a 3-headed coin.
It
just wasn't happening.
Yeah.
But my contest director's award, that's the one I picked, went to Barrett Hawkhouse with his not just one airplane, not just 2 airplanes, but like 5 airplanes that he builds himself or he heavily modifies to make it something new and unique.
Yeah.
And he's been a longtime member of our club, and I'm friends with him. That was not part of the bias because I run by my decisions with my staff, and they're like, no, he earned it because he had built a Voyager, the plane that flew around the world, and he built it. He tried to fly it twice, and it just didn't work.
Really?
So he was a little frustrated. So he went home that night and he built that Shorts Skyvan. Literally next day, and it was out flying it 2 days later after he put the power system in it.
Wow, that's amazing.
With the parachute drop. I mean, that's the dedication this
that guy
has.
cranks it up.
So
yeah, he's awesome.
Hands down, he won it. And then Big Mike Calloway with his big Cessna 172, it was a showstopper.
That was a showstopper. That's amazing.
And the guys from Utah that came down with all the jets, I said I had to flip a coin because all 3 of those guys they were on step. They were flying. Right. Yeah, so that was my.
They did a lot of good pair flying. Those 2.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
was it Justin and
Jeremy and Tom Menzel too.
Oh, okay.
Tom was a member of our club for many years here. So
and they were cranking it out. I mean, I just loved watching them fly. If I saw them go on the line, I'd be like, hold on a second, I'll be right back.
Yeah,
and just go watch those guys fly.
Hold my beer. I'm going to watch.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I didn't have a beer, but okay.
Well, I am excited. I am ready for next year already.
I am too. Do you
have a date picked yet?
I got to look at it. It's what's the weekend roughly? What's the dates roughly the same weekend next year?
I don't know.
We'll make it.
We'll have to look at it.
Mike's got a phone out.
Yeah. It looks like the same time.
What's the dates?
Right around it's the second weekend in February.
Yeah, second week in February.
Yeah, I think it's the 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Again?
Oh,
okay. Well, then that's probably what it's going to be next year.
9th, 10th, and 11th.
Yeah, something like that.
Second weekend in February.
Second week in February is pretty much where we're sticking with here.
Oh, good.
So I don't miss the Daytona 500, and I don't miss the waste management Phoenix.
The guys got to have priority.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
well, Shannon, thanks again for joining us. We always look forward to being a part of this festival. We're looking forward again next year. We'll make it even bigger and better. And man, keep us keep us going.
And Mike and we miss Jay. Jay's here in spirit, but. You guys have become part of this family, and
Good.
If you're not here,
I know it.
We would be heartbroken. But I'm actually gonna get a little more. I flew in the slow stick combat. I came in second in the slow stick combat.
Okay.
So I don't get to do a whole lot of flying. I could do more if I wanted to, but I just want to make sure everything's going smoothly.
Yeah,
but I'm going to do that slow stick combat. And I only got a couple nicks on my slow stick because I still flew my slow stick at the night fly last night because it was my night flyer too. So
Well, very cool.
All right.
Thank you very much. We'll talk to you guys here soon.
Thanks again.
Well, everybody, welcome back to the Park Flyer Podcast. It's Sunday evening. We have kind of closed out the weekend, and it's been a fun weekend, Mike.
Oh, yeah. I had a great time.
Yeah, well, we are lucky enough at this point. We kind of put everything up and gave Jay a call. So, Jay, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, guys. I'm glad to be here. Well, I'm not glad to be here where I am. I wish I was where you were. I'd be even happier
right?
And gladder.
Yeah, exactly. Well, first things first, we understand your mom had some heart problems and went through surgery. How's she doing?
She's doing great. In typical Neely fashion, we overdo it, so she had to be the best at what she was doing. She couldn't just have, one bypass. She couldn't just have 2 bypasses. She had to go for the quadruple bypass, the best.
I've always known her to be
set a record.
Yeah, she's an achiever, overachiever for sure.
Overachiever, that's right.
Well, we know she is recovering. And we know the surgery happened in December, right? Right after Christmas.
Right after Christmas, the day after Christmas, we went and had it done.
Right. So now she's in a recovery mode, and she's up and walking around and doing much better, from what I understand.
That's right. So you can call me Nurse J right now. That's what I do. I cook, I clean, I do light medical stuff. I do it all. Go. So I'm taking care of her. She's doing well, though. I have to admit, I am really amazed at how quickly people recover. That with after the surgery, it only took a week and a half, and I had to bring her home. I got a call, and she's like, "Hey, come pick me up." And I'm like, "Pick you up from where?" She's like,
"I'm just getting used to you being gone."
They kicked me out, so I had to run up there and go grab her. So
Well, good. Well, we're glad she's doing well, and we know that you would have been here if you could have been here, but everybody missed you. Everybody.
Yep.
Well, that's good to hear.
I have a secret, Jay.
Good to hear. Usually most people don't miss me.
I have a secret. So, I happen to know your mom was on a cruise. She didn't actually get. No, I'm kidding.
That's not true. Now you got our listeners thinking, "Wait, what?" She actually was.
Right. I'm in Jamaica, man. I'm drinking rum on the beach.
You pick her up in Galveston. It's all good.
Well, it was a difficult time not to have you here, but it was
sure.
A lot of fun for Mike and I. We did miss you, and everybody, even Shannon, was kind of wondering where you went. But we told everybody you were nursing your mom back to health, and everybody understood. But man, it was a fun time. You really missed out on some really cool stuff.
From what I've heard, it sounds like it. I tell you what, though, I miss seeing Big Mike. I liked his builds.
Yeah,
I like the guy. He's just a good guy all around. But just the fact that you got to maiden his planes, and just from the sounds of all the shenanigans that you got yourself into, I'm a little envious in that, because that guy builds really well. And it sounded like the Cessna was fantastic.
It really was.
The Cessna was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And he actually flew it a couple of different times. However, Mike and I this morning unfortunately watched a devastating flight for Big Mike.
No, the Cessna?
No, it wasn't the Cessna.
Oh.
Thank God.
The Takana. Yeah, thank goodness.
Wait. So like he crashed that last year, right? And then he got a new one,
yes,
right?
He
or
did.
something. Wait, because I remember he had one last year, and then he said,
yes.
"Oh, I busted it up, or I crashed, or I had a mishap," and then it was like, but that wasn't that wasn't his first one. Wait.
Yeah, so
He's
he
had 2 or 3
he calls
right?
it Big Blue, right? And Big Blue 1, or Big Blue, the original, was last year. And the Demon Cortex, in his interview on Friday, we talked a little bit about, I guess it would have been 2 episodes ago, we talked about his little mistake. He was fighting with the Cortex and didn't turn it off and wound up putting it into the trees. So this year he built Big Blue 2. And thanks to Mike, who conveniently walked me over and said, "Here's your test pilot," I got to fly it, and it flew fantastic. Now, I will tell you that I flew it, twice, 3 times, somewhere around in there. I flew it a couple different times, and I got it all trimmed up. We put the Cortex, got it all programmed, turned it on. I went and flew it again. It flew really, really nice. I did some aerobatics with it. Big Mike was like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I just fly around." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So this morning, we got up and, he was out there and he was all excited because he gets to fly it now that he's seen it flown. This was his first flight on it, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And so he got out there and he flew it around, was doing really great with it. I asked him, "Have you ever done acro with it?" And he said no. Well, I will tell you that Mike was flying already, and I was spotting for Mike. Alaska Mike.
Yeah, it's getting a little confusing.
Okay, so too many mics.
Yeah, it's
so
3 mics. Yeah.
AK Mike and I were on the line already because AK Mike was flying currently. Big Mike showed up next to me and said, "I'm going to fly the big airplane." And I said, "Yeah, perfect. I'll spot for both of you," because there were only, 3 of us in the air,
Yeah,
right?
it really wasn't anything.
AK Mike was flying, Big Mike was flying, and there was some other guy with a little foamy that was flying around.
And so Big Mike took off. He did a couple circuits. And while I was talking and watching Mike, a.k.a. Mike, I said, hey, Big Mike, have you done any acro? And he said, no, I don't do any of that stuff. I said, well, I'll walk you through something. And so as he was going downwind, I had him pitch up and do a roll. And he was like, oh, my gosh, I was so nervous, you know. But he did it. It was great. It's fantastic. He did a great job. So he comes back around. He throws the gear out because he's right at his, 3 limits. And he's going to come in and land. I didn't think anything of it. But he goes on the downwind. Mike was talking to me. I was looking at Mike. And all I heard Big Mike say was, I need help. I need help. I need help. And I go, what do you need? Because that's what I would say. In the meantime, all I can see is his thumbs and fingers on the sticks in opposite directions. And I look out and the airplane not slowly, but it is quickly departing controlled flight. He was trying to hand me the radio. I didn't know that.
Oh.
He was trying to hand it to me. And I didn't accept it because I was like, what do you need? I was reaching over to give him trim or do something.
Right.
I didn't know what he needed, but he was trying literally to just pass it to me. And by the time he got it in front of me where I realized what was going on, I flicked both his thumbs off of the sticks and the airplane was in a nosedive, and I tried to pull it out and saw it go below the cactus. And I just kind of held a little bit of elevator, hoping that it would come back out.
To see if it cleared out of the cactus, right?
Yes, like it would just do a low.
I thought for sure it was gonna.
I thought
for sure it was gonna too.
Because it was a nice round out just below the saguaro cactus. I mean, just below it. And I thought, oh, this is going to be the highlight of our month because, just by reaching across and pulling back on the elevator, I got this airplane to carve that, that lower end, come out of this weird snap roll spinny looking thing. And we waited and waited and nothing. And I was like, no. And he looks at me, goes,
no way.
What happened? And I go, I don't know, dude. I didn't realize you were trying to hand me the radio. So about that time, everybody kind of runs over like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And so I grabbed the radio from Big Mike. We hopped in the truck and we drove around to where I thought it went down. Unfortunately, we walked down. How long was I out there, Mike?
Geez, it was probably a half an hour or an hour. Easy.
Yeah. And Big Mike was kind of like, it's good. The desert claimed it, blah, blah, blah. So we came back. I walked all the way through the desert and back in there, and I really felt bad because, it was everything that I could do to help Mike get his plane back. And then, surprisingly enough, a couple of the guys from the field decided they were going to go out and look for the airplane. Basically, I got the phone number, and they walked away. I got this really great idea that we should fly the Cessna. So I told Big Mike, I said, hey, you jump on the big Cessna, get it all fired up. We're going to fly it the same exact racetrack pattern as, we did the other one. And as a result, we were able to fly it in a pattern. And I called, or actually they called me and said, hey, we can see the Cessna flying over us. And I said, where we turned from downwind to base leg, that's where the airplane went down. And they're like, wow, that's way further east than we are. And so they said, make another circuit. So we made another circuit with the Cessna, and right as we turned, the phone rang, and they said, we found it right where you were turning. So they recovered the whole airplane and brought it back.
So for the Tucano, I can't remember how many batteries, what was the setup? Was it 6 cell, 8 cell? I can't remember.
The battery setup was, Mike, was it a 10 cell?
I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I can't remember. Would have to look at Big Mike. But I know it was 2 really large batteries. It was probably at least 2 6 cells. Wow. 2 6 cell batteries. So I'm thinking it was probably a 12 cell. But it was a beautiful flyer.
So what's the NTSB report on, theory on why the plane went down?
Well, since I had flown it, I think there was some spatial disorientation from a pilot. I think Mike just got a little excited about the roll that he just accomplished. And then when he kind of came back around, had the gear out, he started turning. I just think, I don't know. He may think something mechanical. But I did notice when I looked over there that he had full rudder. And he's been trying to work the rudder a little bit better. And I think that in his turn, he just got a little too slow and added full rudder, and the thing just snapped on him. And when it snap rolled, he he kind of pulled back on the stick because that's a natural tendency for people to do.
That's not the right thing to do.
Right, it's not. But I mean, you know, guys see the nose dropping and they want to pull back on the stick, and that just exacerbates the situation. So
sure does.
when I flicked his thumb off, I literally, you know, took my index finger and snapped his thumb off of the rudder. The airplane actually came out in a nosedive.
Less is more. Stop touching stuff.
Yeah, no doubt. So he was happy that we recovered it. He was sad. I was sad that he lost it. I really felt responsible for that. But he's like, no, you weren't. It wasn't you. And I was like, well, I didn't know you were trying to hand me the radio, or I would have just snatched it out of your hands.
I'll be honest with you, Mike. I felt like it was your fault too.
You did?
No, come on.
Thanks a lot.
That was it was a complete misunderstanding about who was going to do what when. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I was dividing my attention between the two, which is really not. I should have told, and I told him that. I said I should have dedicated 100% to you because Mike was doing fine. Yeah. I didn't really need to spot.
I was flying my Walrus that he helped me trim, and it was kind of nervous for me to fly because he trimmed it to Mike standards, and I don't fly like Mike, and so it was a little bit wobbly for me to fly. I would stall in that thing, which I'd never done in the past. Because basically it wasn't.
So when you say Mike standards, so you had it a lot more nose heavy,
exactly.
And more tail heavy.
In fact, when Mike tried to fly, he was like, "Dude, how do you even fly this?" And I was like, "It works great for me."
Believe it.
And he's like,
"Dude, that thing was headed to the ground and 45-degree nose down every single time."
I was
oh man, that thing was just headed to the ground.
So when you let go of the sticks, that's what.
It flew level. Just that because Mike flies that craft differently, it doesn't fly right for him in the configuration I had it, and then I didn't realize that thing stalls like it does. I mean, my Phoenix 2000 doesn't stall like that, but that Walrus it stalls and does a snap. I mean, it'll stall and that wing comes down and it flips around. It's like, wow, what the hell just happened? And I've done that a couple times to it. But I didn't realize that was what's going on with it until Mike started showing me some stuff I didn't know about how that glider flew. And then once I learned how to fly it with the new configuration, I've flown it a ton better.
Well, yeah. So the way I normally fly the Walrus is with a little bit of a tail, a little bit more towards the tail. Yep. So I want it sitting right on the bubble where it's a slow. If you fly hands off, it's flying right above a stall, and if you pull back on the stick, boom, it stalls.
Yep.
Because it's not descending as fast. Mike had his where it was constantly in this
descent.
In this rapid descent. Yeah. So if we had to do in a feet per minute or a feet per second or whatever, I fly mine in maybe like a 50.
His was like a 20-to-1 or a 50-to-1, and mine was like an 8-to-1 or something like that. I mean,
right. So his was coming down at a really fast rate.
And the other thing was, I hadn't spent any time before that making the cavity is pretty busy. In that Walrus,
the two servos are like right in the right together,
and I had a bunch of stuff in the way, and I couldn't put my receiver back far enough because I didn't put extensions in. Blah blah blah. There's all kinds of problems. So Mike and I fixed it on Saturday night or something like Saturday night or through the day or whatever. The night fly night, we fixed it.
Well, that's I took care of the problem first because I took the battery and shoved it back there and it disconnected everything. Yeah. So then Mike had to fix it. Actually, that's what happened.
but so we finally addressed the real issue, which is it was
we did address the issue, but it was more Mike than I just immediately just shoved the battery back and it was like everything quit.
He's like, why did that disconnect? And I was like, well, because this thing isn't long enough. And he goes, well, here, take this thing, and then so then I just basically had to wrestle with it. But because of that, now it's not nearly as compact in that cavity anymore. I just it fits, everything fits in there nicely, and of course now I can balance it properly, like Mike had intended it to be when he was showing me. Yeah.
So he was out flying that, and then like I said, I should have given 100% of my my attention to Big Mike when he took off. So, but he did fly he did fly the Cessna again, and he did a really really good job with that. That airplane's beautiful. It flies amazing.
It is so scale sounding and
so
looking.
Scale. Yeah,
it's beautiful. Yep.
So, but anyway, that was earlier today. That was kind of the demise of the Tucano. So we kind of helped him pack it up and kind of lamented over it. And he said, "Don't worry, I think something else is coming out." He really, really likes that airplane.
He said, "Big Blue 3."
Yeah, and I think he wants to have that one because he likes to fly it. But I think we need to as Mike said, name it something different.
Yeah.
We don't need a Big Blue 3. We need something.
Oh,
else.
I see. Yeah.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
Don't want to stick with that name.
Right. So he's already done the Big Blue 1 and 2, but this next time I think he may have something different. But and I told him basically some of the suggestions that I gave him is that he needs to go out and fly with some guys that fly bigger turbines and big IMAC type stuff, because those guys they can buddy box him and they can help him right at home. He doesn't have to wait till he gets all the way to the Electric Festival to have one have me help him out. So. But we talked a little bit, like Mike and I spent a lot of time this weekend just talking about aerodynamics of RC flying and trying to get him to understand a little bit about how the Walrus flies and how the glider flies compared to other airplanes. And so Big Mike and I talked a little bit about it too on the side about proper flying techniques and how to do what, and there's a lot of stuff that I take for granted that I'm a pilot by by profession, so. The 4 years in college and the 30 years in the aviation industry, things kind of are in that natural mindset for me, may not be for other people. There was a lot of things that Big Mike didn't understand when we were talking.
Right. Well, it's understandable. I've run into that myself with a lot of people where you just assume that they know about stall characteristics or whatever you're talking about, or how to make a proper turn or something like that, and I just take haul on the sticks and, it turns that way. Well, okay. Well, at least it's turning the right way. So,
Right.
have to start somewhere.
Actually, he did that the first time where he, on the Tucano, when he had the 40 or 50% expo in it, kind of gave me a thrill to the landing.
I'm sure it did.
So we dialed all that back too. But I mean, that was another one of those things that he just took settings from one airplane and went to the other. And he mentioned that in his interview that, that doesn't always work.
No.
It's kind of surprising to the test pilot when it happens.
You don't want to take your sailplane,
right,
configuration and stick it in your, B-24. That may not work out too good.
Sure.
So
and then
one of the things I liked about your interviews that I remember hearing was that you actually had some young kids out there this time.
We did. I really tried to get.
We haven't had. A couple other years we really didn't have that many. We didn't really have any children out there flying at all. Just some that were interested, but none that were flying. And you actually had a kick butt pilot that was out there. And he's 8 or 9?
Yes, Skyler. Skyler was 8. Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Yeah, he flew down, or he drove down with his dad. And unfortunately, how many times we tried, Mike? We probably tried about 3 or 4 times to get him to come.
His dad was like, "Yo, you want to interview him? That's fine." And he was like, "Nah, I don't want to do that." Like, really? We're just going to ask a couple questions.
He was a little shy.
I don't want to do that. All right.
I think if we'd have finally got his dad, the problem was those guys were out of the flight line
all the time.
I mean, he was literally, I think out of, I can't remember. Shannon said on his little interview, I think he said, didn't he do like 91 flights or something?
I don't know. He had like 15 or 20 planes, easy.
Yeah, but I mean, Skyler himself. Skyler flew, was up there all the time.
Yeah.
So good for him. I mean, he's
awesome.
a great pilot.
That's awesome.
Yeah, even I think Tim Hanstine and some of the other guys, AJ and those guys, they mentioned it on their interviews too. They were just like, "Wow, that kid is just fantastic. He's out there all the time." And we were like, "Yeah." I said I kept trying to get an interview with him, and he wouldn't interview. He's like too busy flying.
That's great.
Yeah, it was good to see it.
Now I heard you had a young lady that crashed your interview.
Yeah, Emma. Yeah, that was last week's episode, but Emma got the timber, I think, right, Mike?
Yeah.
And she won that, yeah. She was so excited. She threw it together right in front of us. We were kind of laughing because we were all standing around at the table, and she was on the ground in between the tables. I'm like, why don't you just put it on the table? But she was so excited. She was pulling parts out of that thing all over the place. But, yeah, it was great interview. If you haven't heard it, you can I think it came out last week or 2 weeks ago. It was good.
Oh, that's
so one thing that I don't remember covering, and if we did, then I apologize for the repeat, which is Barrett has all his basically self-designed planes, and he had that one with like 6 engines or something.
Yep.
What was that, Mike?
B-36.
B-36?
B-36. He had that out there last year when I was out
Well,
there, and the year before.
Okay, so he's flying this thing. He's doing a good job. It's cruising along. We're all the guys are flying with him. They're having some fun, and all of a sudden he goes, "Dead stick," or something. He says something, or "I lost it," or something, and for like 3 heartbeats, he's like, "It's going down." Oh man, it's going down. Oh, I saved it. And then I look over, and this B-36 has come blasting through over the bushes, you'd see in some kind of movie where you thought the plane crashed, and it comes blasting over, and he's like, "Woo! I got to bring it down." And he landed, and it's like, oh my God. I
awesome.
knew his heart. He lost his heart on that one because it was.
Everybody did.
Yeah, it was just.
So, and guess who had the best view in the house? Me. Because you know where I was standing?
No, where were you?
On the runway.
Oh, you were right there?
I was on the runway.
Oh, I don't remember that. Okay.
Yeah, because I had just come. I saw you guys flying. I was coming back from looking for Big Mike's airplane, and I was walking towards the runway, and I saw him coming in, and I heard him yelling landing. So because the runway's in front of you, and then there's that fence that's out further. Yes. And I had just come through the gate of the fence, and I was walking up to the runway because I was going to cross the runway, but I was standing there waiting for Barrett to come in with this big B-36. And right as he turns final, that I could hear what Mike just said, that he was just like, "Oh, I lost it. And the thing is that on that end, there's a little like canyon area.
Right.
And all those bushes, not the same bushes that Barry sent his little L-39.
No, it's on the other end of the runway.
The other side. It's on the other end.
Yeah.
And so it slopes down, and the airplane literally from my vantage point, which was looking opposite, it went into the canyon and then just pitches straight up and comes, like Mike said, it just rockets out, and everybody was cheering, and he cut the throttle and touched down, a beautiful landing right in front of me.
In fact, he laid down on the ground. I remember he landed the thing on the ground, and he just laid down like, I can't believe it.
He laid down. Because that thing, he had just told everybody the day before on Saturday that, or yesterday, I guess, he told everybody yesterday that he was going to put the little 50 millimeter EDFs on it and make it a true pusher,
B-36.
Yeah, pusher and jet. So he's like, "Yep, that's my next mod." And then to watch that thing just
almost go in, yeah,
almost go in, he would have been like,
Racco.
"Oh man!" On the very last day, at what time was it? About 11:30 or something.
We were wrapping it all up. Yeah,
we were getting ready to.
Everybody was doing last flights, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
oh, man.
He saved it, and we all clapped. It was good. It was good. Yeah, it was fun.
Now, the one thing that I miss that since I wasn't there is the night flying. So the night flying, all 3 nights, all 2. Well, not 3 nights because you're not going to be there for tonight, but for Friday and Saturday night were pretty good.
Well, that we were there on Thursday, so it was 3 nights for us.
Oh, Thursday. Okay, that's right.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but we're not there tonight.
It was really cold Thursday though, so we didn't really stay out that long. And
it was just you and me.
Yeah, well, and it was really cold. So I was like, I'm not staying out here. It's just really cold. And but we had the best time when everybody was there. Really, that was really the best time of it because they had a bunch of different things that they did.
Saturday.
Yeah,
last night. Last night Spencer was there, so it was me, Mike, Spencer. They did the hot air balloon.
Oh, that's right.
That was kind of cool.
Did you do some stealth with Spencer?
Oh yeah. Spencer was
Spencer.
He was dogging me. So he'd be flying the plane, he'd put it in stealth mode and then try to chase me around to try to freak me out. He'd turn on the lights right when he's nearby me. I was like, I knew he was there because he was giggling, right? It's like I knew he was right by my plane because he's giggling. But he had a good time doing it.
He stepped it up a notch. I think.
He did.
It's one thing when we're flying around and he's flipping the switches off, but he definitely stepped it up.
Yeah, he could fly almost 30 seconds or more without lights. Yeah.
So he would leave them on and he would watch Mike and then he would flip them off and come zinging down right behind Mike, like right on his 6. And then he'd wait a second, and then flip the lights on and come zooming up behind him. And, all of a sudden, Mike's flying around. All of a sudden, there's an airplane light up right next to him. And although it probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, even Shannon was laughing. He was having a good time. He thought that was pretty cool. And then he actually even stepped it up. I think we mentioned that last time that he ran it up to altitude and spun it. He would run it up there and then flip the lights off and spin it. And see how long he could hold it.
No, all right. Wow.
Yeah, so it was spinning, and then he'd flip it on. So he'd count like 3 or 4 or 5 seconds and then flip it on and see if he could recover. I was like, you guys are sure liberal with my airplanes.
Oh, it was with your plane.
It wasn't his. It was mine.
I love it. Oh, yeah. Oh, I wish I was there. Oh, I would have flown the heck out of that thing.
Exactly.
I'll go longer than you.
It was good.
But
I don't even know if you can get those the night ones anymore.
Night Walrus?
The Night Walrus?
Well, yeah.
You can't?
I don't know.
Selling those. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen them. So
We'll have to look and see. Well, he was giggling like a schoolgirl, man.
Yeah,
we were
he
having
was.
a good old time laughing. And we mentioned that Shannon, I think this morning's interview with Shannon, he was talking about his night radian looked like a disco ball. So, but it was.
Well, I haven't seen one of those before. I mean, I've seen them, on like a YouTube video or something, but I've never seen one fly. So.
Oh yeah, that thing was like. Almost not saying anything towards Shannon, but I think if there was a way to slow the pattern down, it probably would have been better. Don't you think, Mike?
What do you mean by slow it down?
Well, because the pattern changed so rapidly, it was like a constant change, and it wasn't like this one little pattern that kind of went over and over. It was like 35 different patterns. So they were all switching. Like remember when the helicopter flew last year, I think?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And he would fly a little bit and then he would switch and fly something else with something different. Yeah. I think that's what I was expecting. But this thing looked like a Vegas strip, man. It was just, I mean, not that it was annoying, but it was like, oh my gosh, it was hard for my eyeballs to kind of keep up with it because it was a lot of strobing.
So basically it was giving little kids spasms. Or whatever.
It's very similar.
All the epileptics were just like all laying out. Yeah. Oh, sorry, folks, as he flies the plane by.
Now it was very cool. I'm not going to dog the flight. It just for me it was kind of like wow. It was just so much going on all the time that it just it was hard to at night. It's kind of like I said. It looked like a Vegas show strip. It just was kind of like. Anyway, it was a fun time. You missed it. Sorry.
Yeah, I did. Believe me, if I wasn't a good son, I would definitely be there.
Oh, I know.
So it definitely sucked. You know what? You know what was great though? Since we have the new webpage, our Facebook page,
yeah,
and I got to see some of this stuff. That was very cool to me.
Good.
I got to see Fly Mike's Cessna. I got the Big Mike's Cessna. Even though I didn't quite, because that plane was so big, I didn't know quite what was going on, but
right.
I love, because that, I think it was in that clip that somebody was yelling, hey, real aircraft.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, oh no,
Yeah.
But I love that you guys did the little short clips showing the flight line, showing certain planes. That was very cool to me. Also dug your heels into me because I was like, oh man, now I get to see what I'm missing. Oh, this really sucks. It's different when I hear about it on the phone. You give me a call that night and say, hey, this is what happened. But now I get to watch it on Facebook too. Yeah, that ain't fair, dude.
Right. Well, we wanted you to be a part, so that's kind of what we did.
Yeah. Well, I was, and I really can't. I think that Facebook Live stuff is really going to help us out because we're going to be able to do more stuff with that. That is just really a real cool medium. So just shows
we did get some comments yesterday. I think that one or two of the guys were like, "Hey, your clips for Facebook Live are way too short. So we need to do something where they're longer."
Well, what did I say was long enough? Like, what's the?
Well, I'm still being an old guy. I'm still kind of trying to get used to the whole Facebook Live. But evidently, Facebook Live can be really long, like an hour long, and people can jump in there and make comments and all that other stuff.
And maybe they're too short because then they'll have enough time to really notice that it's happening and get involved. Is that the idea?
Yeah, it's not necessarily an Instagram account where we just post it and they watch a couple seconds.
Sure.
The Facebook Live is something that I guess we need to schedule. Where we can say, "Hey, everybody, we're going to be on Facebook Live."
Right.
And,
well, it's new to us, so we're just,
it is new to us.
Bunch of old guys,
but they can also watch it after the fact, right?
They can,
yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
So,
but
like
they
you
can
said,
comment. You can
live.
comment because that's
live.
what I was doing. I was commenting to you guys. You did one where you were talking to me for. Now I'm having a brain fart. Oh my gosh! Broke his plane, was fixing it, and then he was saying, "Hey, too bad you're not here to fix my plane." And I wrote back, some snide comment, and I was like, "Hey, this is fantastic."
Right. The little Viper jet we were looking at. Yeah.
Yes. So I dig that people can write to you real time.
it was
be having
cool.
a little corresponding.
Well, it's you can thank Philip for that. He kind of set that up. And if you are listening to the podcast, go on to Facebook, look for Park Flyer Podcast Listeners Group, and join us. It is worldwide listeners. We're really excited. Tim this morning kind of hinted around that we've got some things in the work with Northwest RC, so stay tuned for some of that. We've got plenty of other stuff. We've got some guys coming out, I think, at some events. I know that Doug and his group are, posting some stuff coming up as well. So probably by the time this thing comes out, it'll already be there. But join the group and let us know what you think. I think we're up to 50 or 60 members just this weekend, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
A lot of people jumped in there and joined. So, man, we appreciate you joining us. Our time is up for the quick. We're kind of tired. We're going to turn it in for the night, but it's been fun, and I'm glad you got to at least touch base with us before we call it an evening. And
Yeah. I'm glad I was able to get in here. So
yeah, it worked. So, well, we appreciate Barry and Spencer for stepping in.
Yeah,
and,
thanks a lot to you guys.
Yeah, they did a good job. Spencer stuck it out with us. Barry kind of jumped in, and I think after the plane strainer incident, he had other things he had to do.
Oh man!
But I do know. I think from the last episode 2 weeks ago, I think we said that there's one on the way. I think he went home last night and ordered a new one. So hopefully it'll be here at some point, and he'll have a new L39 to play around with. But man, what else, Mike? I think this has been a great year for this. And we had a good time. I'm looking forward to next year.
I'm going to come back again, yeah.
Yeah, I think next year will be even better. This was their 15th anniversary, so I think it only gets better every year. And now Shannon's the president of the club, so I think we can expect big things from those guys. Arizona Model Aviators, if you're wondering, it's held at their field. You can go to their website and check it out. We appreciate Shannon and his staff. They do a wonderful job.
Yay!
Yeah, another year behind us on the podcasting for the Electric Festival, and we sure enjoy every minute we spend with those guys. So vendors were great, food was great, everybody was good to see them. I felt like a big family. So
awesome.
We're happy. Yeah, we're happy.
I'll make it for next year for sure.
Perfect. We're looking forward to it. So. Yeah, put it on your calendar. I think it's about the same weekend. It's either the 9th, 10th, and 11th, or the 12th, 13th, 14th.
Yeah, it all depends because you guys have the that big race out there too, and this year you had some air show out there like almost at the same time or something.
We did, yeah, we did. There was a Buckeye Air Show. It was at the same time. So there was one event on one end of town and one event on the other end of town, but we did good.
Right.
I think it was, as Shannon said, it was one of those things that. In the paper was the number 2 thing to do this weekend was to come see the RC airplanes. So
awesome.
Yeah, it was a good year. So, well, perfect. Unfortunately, we got to go. So stay tuned for our next episode 2 weeks from today. We'll be having Jay back on, for his maidens and stuff that he's been working on, because I know you got some projects going on. But for now, we're going to sign off. I'm Michael from here in Arizona.
And I'm Jay from the hills of Texas.
And this is AK Mike living in Texas.
All right. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Let's fly.
You have been listening to the Park Flyer Podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to your next visit. Please give our show a star rating and review, and feel free to email us your questions, topics, or suggestions to parkflyerpodcast@gmail.com.